Hey everyone, I'm Juanica, also known as Miss Astrology, bringing you this video to help you understand better astrology and compatibility and relationships. And I decided I'd make this video because I had someone on my Instagram comment that she pulled up someone's birth chart right in front of their face and she said, "You made me like this." And I was like, I don't see the problem in it, right? Like, I do it also. I don't want to waste my time with dating. I know myself very well. I know what kind of energy I'm going to flow best with. I know where, someone could bring positive influence or an irritability in my life. And so, yeah, I pull up a chart and I don't see anything wrong with it. So I figured if you guys are going to be pulling up charts, at least I would tell you what to look for so you could have a better understanding. Because here's the thing, most people think it's the sun sign. When, if you ask me, if I have to rank the top 3 to 4 positions of compatibility, the sun would likely be third or fourth. It doesn't matter as much as some of the other placements. And so let me let you know what you want to look for. Of course, everybody wants to look for their sun sign, but this is why you need to know your own chart. Now, there are some other aspects that go deeper, and I'm not going to get into that here because we just don't have time. And that's really a one-on-one session that you really want to have. But for the most part, the main place that you want to look for compatibility is, for me, the top 3 would be the moon, Mercury, Venus, and then the sun. So let me explain. If you already saw my video where I talked about the moon, understanding your big 3, the sun, moon, and rising, you understand that the moon is your emotions. This is who we are on a more sensitive, inner level. This is who we are at home. This is who the person that you share a comfortable space with, a space with no shoes, no bra, no belt, where you really are yourself. This is where your moon demonstrates itself, where it shows up. And so you can automatically see how that would play a very important role when it comes to compatibility and relationships, and even talking about, who you want to live with and build a family with. The moon also is how you demonstrate or how you feel emotionally safe and emotionally secure. And so when you're talking about a relationship, you would definitely want to consider emotional safety, right? That's a part of us innately, period. And that's something that we just have to feel. Now, what you start to realize and learn as you grow in this journey and you develop more is that, it's only your connection to God, to source, to the universe that truly offers emotional stability for you. However, there are some signs and placements that just complement each other better and have a better understanding of what each other needs on an emotional level. So, what you really want to look for when it comes to the moon is you really want a element that gets along with yours. So, and this is going to go for the sun, moon, for the moon, Mercury, and Venus. You really want an element that you get along with. So that makes it a lot easier. There's going to be, of yours, there's 6 elements, right? That you're going to get along with. There's 12, there's what? There's 3 of each. So there's going to be 6 that you're compatible with. So if you are a fire sign, then the elements that you're going to get along with the best are other fire signs or air signs. So those are going to be the best energies for you moon wise. They're going to understand you. If you're a water sign, you're going to be most compatible with other water signs and even earth signs or earth moons. So these are the elements. The elements are what you want to look for when it comes to compatibility. Okay, I want to say one thing. I got a little bit ahead of myself on this, but I do want to go ahead and put it in here right now. And I'm not going to pause this because this is on Zoom and Zoom does that stupid message. Anyways, when I talk about what I'm talking about here is relationships of all sorts, how you get along and relate to others, within the different relationships that you have with other people. The reason that I want to make that distinction is because I personally believe to love, like love, pride, joy, excitement, I personally believe that that comes from your sun sign. And I don't necessarily agree that you have to find that joy, passion, excitement within your relationships in order to have a satisfactory, satisfying, joyful relationships. What I mean by that is you can have a great relationship and still really find the most excitement in your day be work, be working out and taking care of your body, be dealing with your kids or having something with your kids, to a social cause or a social justice. That is really your joy, your excitement, what gets you going every day. That comes from your sun sign. That I feel like is love. And I don't think that necessarily has to do with relationships. Now, of course, you want your partner to support and understand your love and your passion and that kind of thing. However, that could be like fourth on the list if your partner understands what provides you with emotional security and can relate to you in an emotional way and understands or can at least empathize with your moods, your sensitivities, how you see safety for your family, how you consider raising children. This is what the moon represents, and this is very important in a relationship. So I hope that makes sense about the sun. I do feel like that it does, especially as we go on to the next, what I would consider. And I think me saying Mercury is the second most important placement when it comes to compatibility comes from personal experience. I think for me, I was once in a relationship with a Leo, and I have Jupiter in Leo, very compatible with Leo. I'm a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars. I have lots of Sag energy. And that relationship felt really good to me. The only issue that we tend to have, which was a big one, was communication and the levels of which he preferred to communicate a lot more detail, and I did not. And this was because although he was a Leo, his Mercury was in Virgo. So Mercury is our thought processes, how we communicate, how we perceive information. It's our memory. It's a lot of our daily tasks and functions. And he was really detailed about like his daily things. And I'm working on that. Like, and it's something I'm definitely working on. I have Saturn in Virgo, so it's something that I'm working on. But again, that makes that square to my Sagittarius energy. And so Mercury, you want a Mercury compatibility so that you know how to communicate. Communication is vital in relationships. How can you express an understanding for each other's emotions and each other's passions and each other's sensitivities and frustrations and concerns and excitements and celebrations if your Mercury's square or if they are in a harsh aspect to each other? So you really want to look for the same elements again. Now, I say that, but I do want to say this about oppositions. Oppositions are in a complementary element. They are a balancing act. So for instance, I myself have Mercury in Sagittarius. If I were to be with a Gemini who also had Gemini in Sagittarius, I may find myself getting frustrated with, again, a lot of the chatter and maybe the gossiping and the talk, because that's more Gemini energy. And as a Sagittarius, specifically because my Mercury is retrograde, I don't really like to gossip and chatter a lot, although I can be very curious because I'm a Gemini rising. So this would be something that I would have to say, which it could still work because these are complementary elements. So this is a conversation I could likely have with a Gemini, which would, change some of the way we communicate, which could still work, specifically if the moons were complementary as well. So this is just something, oppositions can throw a little bit of a balancing act. They're opposite. Some say opposites attract. I say opposites balance each other. So Mercury is a very important placement when it comes to romantic compatibility, because this is the planet that represents how you communicate, how you perceive information. It's really, do you prefer to talk on the phone or text? Do you want to talk all day, every day, or every other day? This is, that kind of, what do you want to talk about? Those kind of things. What kind of memory do you have? What kind of sense of humor do you have? It's, do you rather be really detailed or big picture? Do you need just summarize it for me, or do you need step by step for everything? So I think you can see how Mercury would be very important when it comes to romantic compatibility, right? Okay. And I don't want to say last, but I'm doing top 3, right? Okay. Venus. Venus is the 3rd placement that you would really want to consider in romantic compatibility. Not just romantic compatibility, but Venus does indicate a little bit more of romantic compatibility because she's such a lover. She's such a, yes. So, and this is just in relationships in general. And the reason that I say that is because Venus is our value systems. Venus is how we relate, how we balance, how we relate to others, what we consider valuable. This is also a planet that is about stability and security. It rules both Taurus and Libra. Taurus is the sign of security, and then thinking about the moon being exalted in Taurus. So this is, Venus needs to be well aspected, because in this instance you both value the same qualities or the same things. And then this is typically will also coincide with, your sun, what brings you joy, and how you communicate those things as well. So Venus being involved shows a compatibility in values, your value systems, your resources, what you consider to be resourceful, how you relate to each other, and really what you consider beautiful. And but maybe both you like to socialize, or maybe you're more introverts. Here's the good news. You may be thinking, oh my God, Juanika, I gotta make sure the moon and Mercury and Venus and all of that are compatible. Well, besides the moon, typically, if you can find someone whose sun sign is compatible, this is a good indicator. Now, maybe it's a Cancer and you're a Sag and you're just like, dang, I don't really like Cancer. However, their Mercury is in Leo and their Venus is in Leo, and maybe their moon is in Gemini, or they have an Aquarius moon, and that's a moon that gets along with your Sagittarius energy. So even though you may find somebody that's not a Cancer, or not, their sun sign is not exactly compatible to your sun sign, Mercury and Venus are personal planets. They tend to run, or they do not tend to, but they do transit and move across the sky very close to the sun. So for instance, Mercury is never more than one sign away from the sun. So if you're, for instance, a Cancer, if you're born right now, the sun is in Cancer, but Mercury, well, actually today, Mercury is actually in Cancer. But just this time last week, the sun was in Cancer and Mercury was still in Gemini. Mercury is always going to catch up, and it can never go any further than being in Leo while the sun is still in Cancer. So if you find someone who's, their sun sign's not compatible, but they're obviously right next to a sign that would be compatible, you may still have that compatibility, because Mercury and Venus always run very closely. Venus is never more than 2 signs away from the sun because of how she orbits. So it still tends to work out, even if the sun is not in the most compatible position. However, you definitely, specifically, it's somebody that you are going to live with or have children with, or really lay foundations with, you definitely want moon compatibility right off the top. And then, yes, I do think Mercury is right up there as number 2. Venus comes in number 3 for me. And then, yes, the sun does matter, because this is your joy. This is what brings you real excitement in life, really what kind of strokes your ego, if you will. And the ego is not a bad thing. It just needs to be nurtured. Moon, Mercury, and Venus can nurture that. That's why these planets travel so close to the sun to nurture it. So it can be nurtured through these other planets. But yeah, the sun is not the most important placement when it comes to the overall compatibility with others. And these are good placements also to look for in business and other types of relationships, specifically Mercury. If we're talking about business relationships or partnering in that sort, you definitely want somebody that you can communicate with. And then I would even put Venus above that in professional relationships, because you definitely want to have the same value systems and really kind of value resources the same, look at money the same, look at partnerships and your reputation the same, look at kind of physical fitness the same. So I would consider Venus to be more important than the moon. I would put Mercury and Venus when we're talking about business partnerships and overall relating in that sense. I would move the moon down and move the sun up and put Mercury, Venus, the sun, then the moon, because the moon is who you are at home. And this, I would say, more for people that you live with, romantic compatibility, roommate type situations, really understanding your parents a little bit better, your children better. That's really when you want to get to know the moon. So okay, I'm going to stop there. I hope this helps. Next time you pull out a chart of somebody, at least you know what you're looking for. Look for the moon, Mercury, and Venus. You want to look for compatible elements. They don't have to be in the same sign, but you want it to be an element. So fire and air go together very well. Water and earth go together very well. So these are compatible elements. So this is what you want to look for. Of course, there's some other aspects that you want to take into consideration. Saturn, the North Node, but listen, you need a professional for that. So if you want to get a compatibility reading, I do those. They are recorded. Bring your partner's chart, bring your children's chart, understand the flow of your family. You can missastrology.us, or you can tap the link in my bio if you're on Instagram. It's down below in this description box if you're on YouTube. And until next time, I hope this really helps each of you in your partnerships and your relationships. Peace.